morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm your host, Jessica Williams. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's Monday, so you already know it's time we kick it off with some motivation. Here's the quote. There is nothing insignificant in the world. It all depends on the point of view. Sometimes we overlook the small things, the quiet moments, and the little victories. The everyday interactions are so important because they may not seem big enough to even matter, but they do. But this quote reminds us that significance isn't always about size, it's about perspective. What seems minor to one person might be life-changing to someone else. A kind word, a small gesture, or a small decision can ripple far beyond what we may see in that moment. When we shift our perspective, we start to recognize the value in everything, especially the things we usually take for granted. Purpose, beauty, and meaning are everywhere when we choose to see them through the lens of appreciation. So today, slow down, pay attention, trust that nothing is too small to make an impact, because sometimes the smallest things leave the biggest marks. Now on to the show. First up, we are kicking off with the Middlewaves Festival, which is happening at the end of this month. They break down the musical lineup and fun attractions you can enjoy as you rock it out. Then it's Money Monday with Foster Financial, and we are diving into misconceptions in finance and how the tax brackets really work. And later, Health Hut is joining me to share about their FreedomFest happening on Thursday in honor of Juneteenth. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
Are you ready to jam out at one of the largest music festivals coming to Fort Wayne this summer? Well, save the date for Middlewaves, which is taking place on June 28th. And here to tell us all about it is Carly Myers, Chief Marketing Officer at the Embassy Theater. Hello, Carly.
Hello.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you too.
Okay, so Middlewaves is making its way back.
That's right.
So exciting.
Very exciting.
Let's just talk about it because you all took over this festival a couple of years ago.
That's right.
And you're doing it bigger and better each year.
Absolutely, yeah. We're really excited about this year because we're taking it back to Headwaters Park. Last year, our neighbors graciously worked with us to do year one closer to home base.
Yeah.
But we're taking it back to a green space where it's going to feel a lot more festival-like. And it was hosted there by the previous leadership at Middlewaves for multiple years. So we're excited to take it back there just so that it feels like a true music festival and allows us to do a lot of cool things in the pavilion over there.
Right. And so would you describe this more of like a rock festival? Is that the genre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this year it's indie rock, heavy indie rock influence. Our headliner is Fantagram. They've never been in our region, which is very exciting. We start the lineup day with Love Seat, who's a local indie rock band. And then just the rest of the evening is going to be a great, like, just bam, 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 great bands like leading one into another, and it's gonna be like great electric energy downtown.
Okay, yeah, because about 5 different bands will perform throughout the night. And what time does it get started?
The doors open at 3. First music set starts at 4, and then we have lots of cool activations in that area. We have a game zone, which includes, and we just announced this recently, a huge gaming trailer with all the latest consoles inside so people can take breaks in between sets to play games. We have the regular yard games. We have a whole art area where you can do a glitter bar and you can do a flower crown and make things that have like that festival feel to kind of enhance our experience. We've got local food trucks. We have vendors selling all the festival wares. It's going to be, and there's other surprises that people will discover when they get there.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Okay, and then there'll be food trucks. Okay, and opportunities for
plenty to eat.
Plenty to eat.
And
then there's like ticket ranges, right? So people can get their general tickets. Tickets are on sale now.
Correct.
But then there's VIP tickets.
There are.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, we've sold a lot. There are still some available. If people want to seize those great exclusive opportunities that come with that, I would encourage them to do that now. We expect those to sell out. And those give you, prime seating location, air-conditioned bathroom, which is important on a day that can be hot. There's going to be snacks. There's going to be seats and tables so people can settle in that area.
Okay.
A few other perks. So if people want those, I would get them now because I think they'll be gone.
Okay, so perks like seating. So with the general seating, in case someone has not gone to Headwaters Park for a festival, is it recommended to bring out blankets, chairs, or is it more of a standing concert?
You know, people will do a little of each. There will be people that bring blankets, and we do have a list on the Middlewaves website of restrictions about what can be brought.
Okay.
So I encourage people to check that out. Blankets are fine. So some people will just, cop a squat, so to speak, and just sit down and enjoy it from the grass. Others will want to stand. There's a lot of people that want to stand, especially for the energy of the bands we're bringing. Right. But yeah, we encourage people to make themselves comfortable and kind of do what they want to do.
What would you say is just the biggest takeaway that you want people to have from knowing about Middlewaves this year and what you all are wanting to present?
Well, the embassy took us over just because we thought it was very important to have an indie rock festival in our backyard so that people don't have to go to Indy and Detroit and Chicago and all the big cities to have that experience. So we are looking to grow this over time strategically, and we just want people to support it. And support can come in many ways. You can buy a ticket, you can spread word, do word of mouth is very important. Yeah. We even have a donation button on our website if you just want to give a small donation to be like, hey, we understand what you're building here. It's not necessarily our thing, but we want to support what the embassy is trying to do and bring to the economy here in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, perfect. And where can people go to get tickets?
So you can come to our box office at the embassy. You can buy from Ticketmaster, or you can go to middlewaves.com. And just a quick reminder is that the general admission price is $45 now, but it will increase on the 22nd for that week of to $55. Okay. So get your tickets now. The kids' ticket prices will not change, but the general admission price will change $10.
Okay, great. Thank you so much,
Thank
Carly.
you.
All right, as you heard it, right now is the time to go ahead and get your tickets for Middlewaves, which is taking place on June 28th at Headwaters Park. Early bird special, $10 off right now. So we'll have that website listed below, and I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome to Money Monday with Foster Financial, and today we're going to talk about some interesting stuff, and I'm so excited to be joined by Caleb Doan, the Vice President. Hello, Caleb.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Okay, so today we're going to talk about some misperceptions, things that people may not completely understand when it comes to finances. So break down what the topic will be.
Yeah, definitely. So I figured we'd do maybe a couple week series on this because we definitely see a lot of misconceptions when we're going through, just personal finance discussions, doing financial plans for people. And it's understandable because the tax code, just finance in general, can be very complex in different areas. So the one that I wanted to talk about today has to do with federal income tax brackets.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I see here is that people are worried if they go $1 into a higher tax bracket, maybe they get a little raise at work or something like that. They think if they go $1 into the next tax bracket that all of their income is now taxed at that higher rate. And in reality, that's not the case. If you just go $1 into the next tax bracket, it's only that $1 that gets charged at that higher tax rate, which is why they kind of call it a marginal tax rate system.
Okay, so wait, so this doesn't apply to just $1, right? It's any amount that's above it. So if it's a $500 into the next tax bracket, you're saying that the original tax bracket will be charged and then the $500 will go under that. What is the max that they allow that before you do have to fully shift into the next tax bracket? So
if you're in the 22% tax bracket, it means you actually have some income being charged at the 10%, some income being charged at the 12%, and then anything above that is in the 22, right? As long as you still stay in the 22% tax bracket. So there's no kind of limit. It's just as long as your income is within that tax bracket, all of the income in that tax bracket will be charged at that rate. So it's a very common kind of misconception that we see.
I mean, listen, Caleb, I was today years old.
Right.
When I learned this, because I am single and I don't own a home and don't have kids, I'm in a high tax bracket, right?
Right.
So I always thought that all my money was being taxed at that. So it is tiered.
Right. It's tiered.
Wow. So why is it set up that way?
Yeah. So I mean, probably a big reason is because you wouldn't want, if you were $100 below the next tax bracket, and then all of a sudden your work gives you a raise or something. If it wasn't tiered, if you were charged at a higher tax rate, especially when going from the 12% to the 22, if all of your income was now charged at the 22% rate, you'd end up net with less money than what you had before.
Right.
So of course the government doesn't want to disincentivize people from earning a higher wage and things like that. So it's all a tiered schedule. If you were making, just under the 22% tax bracket, so, all your income was in the 10 and the 12, and then you move to making a little bit more than that, all of that income is still in the 10 and the 12, and then just what you made on top gets charged at the 22% tax
And
rate.
are there specific amounts, or rather, do you know them? I hate to put you on the spot, but for that, for each one. So what is the amount that you get charged up to 10%? What is the amount up to the next level?
Yeah, so the tax brackets change a little bit every year with inflation and things like that.
Right.
Off the top of my head, for somebody married filing jointly, at least is the common tax brackets that we often deal with, I think the 10% bracket is around $25,000.
Okay.
The top of the 10%, top of the 12% is around $95,000, $96,000. Above that, the 22% tax bracket is from 96,000, and it's pretty wide, so it goes up pretty high. So most people in their working years, if they're married filing jointly, especially if there's two incomes, a lot of times they're in that 22% federal income tax bracket there. So that's kind of like the common breakdown that we often see with that. And yeah, it's a very common thing to kind of be unsure on.
Yeah.
There are some things in the tax code that do have more of a kind of cliff, like we would think about it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, like if other areas of the tax codes are set up like this, or are some very strict?
Yeah, most of them are marginal, kind of like we were talking about with the income tax brackets. There, at least one that comes to mind that's more of a cliff is IRMA. We've talked about our Aunt Irma, right?
Aunt Irma.
Yeah, so income-related monthly adjustment amount is what that stands for, and it's related to your Medicare premiums. With that, if your modified adjusted gross income goes $1 into the next tier, then you're going to be charged higher for the entire year for your Medicare premiums. So that's one that we're always very careful with when we're kind of doing tax strategizing. Make sure to leave a little buffer room if we're doing Roth conversions or something like that, so you don't accidentally go $1 into that next tier, because then you're paying, it could be $180 a month extra for Medicare.
And so will people kind of see this tiered approach laid out in their actual, their wage reports or statements, or is it just kind of convoluted and they just have an amount?
Yeah, it's pretty convoluted. So it's definitely not going to be on like your W-2 or your pay stub or anything. And even on your taxes, if you look at your taxes there, it's just going to show you the gross amount that you made. It's going to show taxable income, things like that. But even then, it's really just going to show the amount that you're paying on taxes. If you look at, it's like the second page of your taxes, you can see the actual federal income tax that you're paying.
Yeah.
If you take that as a percentage of your income, you'll notice it's less than your marginal tax rate.
But then how would people, I think that's the thing too, because even if you do that number and it gives you, let's say if I do it, it gives me like 20%. Well, I'm just thinking that it's a 20% tax. Not the tiered thing.
Right.
So how would one look up where exactly they fall? So you mentioned married joint filing. If someone wanted to see where they qualify, where would they go?
Yeah, so I mean, you can just look up the tax brackets online and kind of see exactly all the income tax brackets and the breakdown of each of them. And then you could look at your taxes and say, hey, my taxable income was, let's say it's $80,000. Well, I know that as someone just filing as a single filer, it's like the first $12,000 of income is in the 10% tax bracket, and then it's like $12,000 to $47,000 is in the 12% tax bracket, and then above that would be in the 22. So you can see, if you're in the 22% marginal tax rate, your actual percentage taxes are going to be slightly less than that, because you have some income in the 10, some in the 12. The government, of course, is taking taxes elsewhere too, so they're taking it from, Social Security, Medicare, they're taking taxes elsewhere. But at least for federal income taxes, it's that marginal system. And it's important to kind of understand that so people know, hey, if I get a raise or if I'm earning some extra money, I don't have to worry about actually making net less than what I was before. It's just the government's going to charge you a little bit more on that extra money.
Well, hey, Caleb, this is great information, and I don't know why they don't advertise it.
Right.
Because this is actually good news.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
for that. And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, we'll have their phone number and their website listed below, and they will help you figure out all these hidden gems and so much more as you plan out your financial plans. And I look forward to seeing you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Juneteenth is coming up this Thursday, June 19th, and it's a day to come together to honor history, celebrate freedom, and embrace the beauty of culture, resilience, and unity. The Freedom Fest is taking place the same day, presented by the Health Hut. And joining me today is their co-owner, Dave Thomas, and K2, who will be a speaker at this event. Hello and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Okay, so the Freedom Fest sounds like it's something that's really exciting, that really will pull the community together. So share with me a little bit about the event and where it was inspired from.
Okay. Well, we do have K2, he's our elder, and I would like to give him an opportunity to give maybe a historical background of Juneteenth. But on that particular day, we will celebrate Juneteenth at the Health Hut, located on 3304 Fairfield Avenue, right here in Fort Wayne. It'll be an educational event. We'll have vendors there. We'll have, again, our guest speaker, K2, who will share knowledge and information about this historical event. We're looking to have food trucks and just have a good time and, just celebrate in the name of Juneteenth.
Yes, absolutely. And we will get to the history. So this event is from 5 to 8.
Yes.
So people can come out. This is a family-friendly event?
It is.
Okay.
Family-friendly. Any and everybody can come. We invite the community of Fort Wayne to participate, gather some information, and enjoying in the festivities. So. Okay,
wonderful. And so, in addition to having a speaker, will you have music performances?
We have a live DJ, DJ Polaris. He's our Fort Wayne DJ here.
Okay.
So we're excited to have him a part of this celebration as he, give us some good music. So.
Yes. Okay, great. So Freedom Fest. So as we're piggybacking off of that name, Freedom Fest. So as we know, Juneteenth is all about the emancipation, really, the freedom that was given to Black slaves who were in Galveston, Texas. I'm a native of Texas, and how they were the last ones to understand that they were free. So share with me just a little bit about the culture, the history, the importance of this day.
The celebration of Juneteenth is really the celebration of the resilience of people of African descent. How we have, by every means necessary and any means necessary, kept our integrity, kept our relationship to the ancestors and the unseen world, kept our faith and our identity. That's what Juneteenth is about. It's not about a white man on a horse who called himself a general riding into Galveston and freeing us. That may have happened, but the way that that's blown out of proportion is problematic. It's seriously problematic.
Okay, and so at this event, at the Freedom Fest, what is it that you will be speaking on? Do you have a topic in particular as the guest speaker?
I just spoke to it. What is the reality of our life here in this country? The reality, not the mythology or the ideality. What is the reality of our life here? And how do we coalesce to express a common collective identity rather than the individuated representations of life that we are calling freedom.
Okay. Okay, great. And then so we have K2 who will be speaking. Will there be any other speakers?
K2 would be our guest speaker. we're looking to have maybe some poetry contests, that type of thing. So give our youth the opportunity to express themselves as well for this significant day. So.
Okay, and so will this be taking place at the Health Hut?
This will take place at the Health Hut, 3304 Fairfield Avenue, right here in Fort Wayne, right across the street from Packard Park, just south of the Boys and Girls Club. It'll be from 5 to 8 p.m. And we're hoping to capture that after-work crowd and, make it an educational experience for those who participate.
Absolutely, and I know that we visited the Health Hut previously and got to explore your shop and things like that, but in case someone is not familiar with the Health Hut Wellness Center, share with us about your business.
Yeah, the Health Hut will be open on that day. We focus on organic and natural health products. We really want to focus on the health of the community. And so the Health Hut was born to provide that type of resource to the community. But natural organic products, we're open to work with local business people to provide their product or maybe their service via the Health Hut. So it really is a community-oriented store, and we welcome feedback, we welcome suggestions, and we're open to do business with our local businesses here.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining me this morning.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, and if you would like more information about the 2025 Freedom Fest, that will be taking place on Thursday, June 19th. We'll have more information listed below, and I'll see you after the break.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, you can always catch up on episodes and segments of Living Local 15 by going to WANE.com, downloading the WANE app, and also checking us out on YouTube. And I'll leave you with this. There is nothing insignificant in the world. It all depends on the point of view. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.